On August 30, a blessing was released in your direction. But Archangel Michael warned that a familiar face tried to block it. You have one final chance to break through. Open now. There are dates in the heavens that do not simply pass like time. They strike like thunder in the spirit realm. August 30 is one of them. Mark it down. Not with ink, but with faith. Not with memory, but with warfare. For on August 30, a divine marker was etched across the heavens, a seal of breakthrough, a decree of blessing, a release of what had long been delayed. It was not random. It was not small. It was not for the masses. It was heaven's specific response to those who have labored in silence, wept in secret, and still held on with trembling faith. On that day, August 30, a blessing was dispatched, not an ordinary one, but a tailor-made outpouring reserved for a chosen few. A shift in your favor, a divine opportunity, a long-awaited door beginning to creak open. It was your name on that scroll. It was your cry that heaven answered. But with every heavenly release comes immediate earthly resistance, and this time, the interference didn't come from afar. The Archangel Michael, commander of heaven's armies, stepped forward as a defender on that day, his sword unsheathed, his eyes blazing. He was dispatched to war on your behalf, to protect what was released and to guard the gate of breakthrough. Because what was coming for you is weighty, and what is coming through you will shift generations. But the war is not just fought in the sky, it broke through into your inner circle. This message is not for everyone. It will not resonate with the distracted. It will not land on those asleep to the spirit. It is for the spiritually sensitive, the ones who have felt an invisible tug since that day, the ones who have felt a stirring, a shift, a tightening in the atmosphere. For them, for you, this is a final alert. Because as the blessing moved toward your life, a familiar face rose in silent opposition. Someone you smiled with, someone you held, someone you trusted. But in the shadows of envy, they attempted to intercept what heaven was sending your way. Whether knowingly or unconsciously, their spirit became a blockade. And now, you are being summoned to stillness, to prayer, to discernment. Heaven has sounded the trumpet. Archangel Michael has released the warning. And this is your final chance to break through. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. Hear now, for this is not merely a message, this is a spiritual summons. This is not casual conversation, but divine communication, urgent, precise, and weighty. Archangel Michael, commander of God's warring host, has taken position. His sword is drawn. His eyes are fixed on you. His wings cast shadows across your threshold, and his presence now surrounds you with intensity. Because in the early hours of August 30, when most were asleep, something was loosed in the heavens, something with your name engraved upon it. A release, a breakage, a holy permission granted for what had been locked up for far too long. As the earth rotated quietly in its cycle, the spirit realm trembled. A blessing was commissioned, not sent aimlessly into the void, but directed precisely, with supernatural GPS into your timeline, your destiny, your assignment. It was divine. It was weighty. And it had a target. You. But by sunrise, before your feet even touched the floor, resistance had already formed. not from distant enemies, not from strangers or visible foes. Lo, the opposition did not arrive from afar. It stood beside you. It smiled at you. It greeted you in silence. The resistance came not cloaked in darkness, but in familiarity. A familiar face. A known name. A shared space. Someone close enough to touch you, close enough to delay you. This is not an ordinary word. This is not for the casual listener. This is a selective message meant for the remnant, those who have been sensing something stirring without words to explain it. Those who felt anxiety without cause, resistance without reason, pressure without evidence. You're not imagining it. This isn't paranoia. This is spiritual reality colliding with physical experience. The blessing you carry is under siege, not because it's weak, but because it's powerful. Heaven never releases without resistance. A moment something is sent from the throne, the enemy sends interception. But this time, the interception came through someone the enemy could influence near you. Someone whose unresolved jealousy, unspoken resentment, or unhealed insecurity made them a vessel. They may not even realize they are being used. But in the spirit, their agreement with fear, envy, or competition became a blockade in the atmosphere. And that's why Michael was released. That's why this message is being delivered. Because heaven does not allow its chosen to walk unaware. You have been shielded long enough. Now, you must be awakened. You must open your eyes. You must prepare your posture. Not in panic, not in aggression, but in reverent stillness, with discernment, obedience, and spiritual intelligence. Archangel Michael has encircled your blessing. He stands between you and every dark force that has tried to delay what is already yours. But you must partner with heaven in how you move next. You must listen closely, speak wisely, observe deeply. Because the face of resistance will not reveal itself through loudness, but through subtle shifts, tones, actions, glances, delays. And if you're not spiritually awake, you will miss it. So now the heavens call. Stay sharp. Stay quiet. Stay holy. Because this blessing is already in motion. It's closer than it's ever been. And the final moment of breakthrough is upon you. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. There is a mystery unfolding around you. Not with thunder, not with earthquakes, but with quiet shifts and subtle glances. The blessing released on August 30 has caused a ripple in the spiritual realm, but it has also stirred something in the people around you. You noticed it. Not loud, not obvious, but strange. Odd glances, unexplained coldness, sudden gossip that you heard in fragments, silent withdrawal from someone who once celebrated you, a sense that the room has changed, but no one said a word. These aren't coincidences. They are signals. You're not wrong to feel unsettled. You're not imagining it. You didn't become overly sensitive overnight. What you're discerning is spiritual tension leaking through human behavior. A familiar face, yes, someone you've laughed with, wept with, trusted, has become an unknowing accomplice to resistance. Because they sense something too. They don't know what it is, but their spirit picked up what their mind couldn't name. They feel it. Something is happening around you. They feel the oil on you is increasing. They feel the shift, the favor, the glow, something new beginning in your life, and it unsettles them. They don't know how to articulate it, so they withdraw. They don't know how to support it, so they sabotage with silence. Or worse, they sabotage with subtle doubt, questioning your choices, making backhanded comments, planting confusion like seeds in your spirit. They don't even fully know why they're doing it. What the enemy does. Because the blessing that was dispatched in your direction is no small thing. It carries legacy. It carries change. It carries deliverance, not just for you, but for others connected to your obedience. And this makes it threatening, even to people who once claimed to love you. You've likely been wondering, why has this person grown cold? Why did the energy shift when I walked into the room? Why does it feel like they're withholding support, words and warmth from me? What changed? What did I do wrong? Let this message confirm what your spirit already knows. You did nothing wrong. What changed was not your behavior but your atmosphere. Your blessing changed the frequency around you. And some people were never meant to survive the altitude of your elevation. They flinch under pressure. They wince at light. They tremble at the sound of your spiritual progress. So now you're caught in a swirl of confusion, not knowing if this is a test, a revelation, or a warning. But it may be all three. A test of your spiritual perception. A revelation of who has been secretly opposing you, and a warning from heaven to realign your circle before the final portion of your breakthrough arrives. Because if you don't discern now, what is delayed may be further entangled. This is not the time for naive loyalty. This is not the time to second-guess what God is showing you. This is the time for clarity, painful, purifying, heaven-sent clarity. The enemy loves to disguise interference in the face of familiarity. But the Spirit is unmasking now. The whisper you've ignored is being confirmed by the thunder of this message. You know who this is about. And even if you're not fully sure, your spirit knows where to look. Stay still. Don't react. Yet. But do not ignore this moment. What you're sensing is real. What you're seeing is strategic. And what you do next will determine whether the blessing arrives delayed or delivered. Type "I receive" in the comments if this message resonates in your spirit. Lesson code 4488 is opening clarity over your life. If you felt the weight of this word confirming what's been stirring in your spirit, know this. Every seed you sow into this mission helps awaken another soul walking blindly through spiritual warfare. This is not about supporting a channel. This is about unlocking chains through revelation. When you give, you're planting into God's movement, into light, oil, and open heavens. It's a prophetic act of agreement with breakthrough. Malachi 3:10 doesn't just promise provision. It commands overflow when you sow into God's storehouse. Right now, I feel this in the spirit. Your support is a spark that ignites someone else's deliverance. I was led to say this. If this message is for you, don't just listen. Respond. Whether it's through super thanks, joining membership, or sowing through the PayPal link in the video description, Heaven honors movement. You are not just helping, you're advancing a holy assignment. And to every giver, I declare, your seed is marked. Your obedience is noted. Your breakthrough is accelerating. Move now. Don't hesitate. Let your action match your agreement. Now hear this in the spirit. What you are facing is not just emotional discomfort. This is not simply human disappointment. You are standing in the middle of a warfare zone, and the battleground is disguised as a relationship. What you see in the natural is only a fragment of what is unfolding in the spiritual. That familiar face, the strange tension, the quiet resistance, it is not the real enemy. It is only the vessel. The true conflict is older, deeper, darker, a spiritual opposition against your divine assignment. Archangel Michael has not warned you to stir fear, but to reveal strategy. He has not stepped forward because you are weak, but because you are marked. You are not being attacked because you did something wrong. You are being opposed because you are about to do something right. You are close, dangerously close, to walking into a new realm of authority, favor, and divine visibility. And the enemy has detected your movement. He's sensed the shift. He's read the dispatch orders that were released on August 30. So what did he do? He searched for someone within reach. Someone who knew your habits. Someone who had access to your presence. Someone whose insecurities were quietly boiling beneath the surface. And in that crack, the adversary crept in, not to possess them, not to ruin them, but to use their unresolved wounds as spiritual leverage to delay your blessing. He manipulated their perception of you, twisted their emotions toward you, and created an invisible wall between you and the promise. You've been asking, why is this happening? The answer is simple, but heavy, because your blessing is too big to go unchallenged. What's being sent your way is disruptive. It will change the atmosphere of your bloodline. It will shift the trajectory of others tied to your obedience. And the enemy is terrified. So he's using proximity as a weapon. He's camouflaging interference in kindness. He's dressing resistance in smiles. But Michael's sword pierces deception. And this moment is your unveiling. Now comes the divine test. Because your response, not just your prayer, but your posture, determines the outcome. If you retaliate in the flesh, you will delay the fulfillment. If you fight back with carnal weapons, you will entangle your own progress. But if you remain still, if you stay watchful, if you stand in silence with clean hands, then heaven will handle what you cannot. Heaven is watching your response. Heaven is recording your discipline. Heaven is measuring your alignment. This is not just an emotional moment. This is a divine appointment. You are being watched from the throne room, and the way you move next will decide whether the angel of breakthrough delivers in full or waits. That familiar face may feel like betrayal. It may sting. But heaven wants you to see it not as punishment, but as confirmation. You are under attack only because you are carrying something sacred. You are being resisted because you are chosen. You are being provoked because the promise is real. Michael's warning is not a threat. It is a validation. This is not about bitterness. This is not about revenge. This is about discernment. You are in a spiritual negotiation, and heaven is awaiting your consent. Do you trust the process? Do you trust the defender? Do you believe the word is still true when friends shift and silence grows? And stand firm. Heaven is not silent. Heaven is strategizing. And if you stay aligned, not only will you be vindicated, but the very blessing they tried to block will be the platform God uses to elevate you. Publicly, powerfully, permanently. Type I am still and I trust heaven in the comments if this word bears witness to your spirit. Blessing code 7777 is securing your posture and unlocking angelic justice. Now hear the sound of the Spirit with urgency, for the enemy has not backed down, he has doubled down. The face that once smiled beside you is no longer just distant, it is now calculating. The resistance that once stirred in silence is now preparing to move, subtly, strategically, and soon. Heaven is issuing this warning. You are within the 72-hour window following August 30, the sacred moment when the blessing was released. And within that window, resistance sharpens. Movement is forming in the shadows. There is a shifting happening behind your back. Whispers, arrangements, conversations not meant for your ears but sent to interfere with your favor. This is not the time to dismiss what your spirit hath been screaming. The uneasiness, the restlessness in your sleep, the strange dreams you cannot explain, the tightness in your chest when certain names come to mind. These are not random. These are alerts. These are prophetic tremors. A familiar face is moving, not with open warfare, but with spiritual sabotage. They are trying to alter what was spoken over your life by altering the atmosphere around you. They may not even realize they've been co-opted by darkness, but the spiritual contract has been activated. And now you feel it, the tension, the delay, the static in the air, the strange miscommunications, the unread messages, the sudden disruptions that come just as you're about to pray or pursue something divine. The distractions sent in the form of obligations, emotional manipulations, or false emergencies, all of it designed to do one thing: divert your focus so the blessing misses your alignment point. But hear this: the enemy can only delay. He cannot deny. The blessing has already been dispatched. What was signed in heaven cannot be unsent. But timing matters. Alignment matters. And you are now standing at the threshold of breakthrough. You are in the final minutes of the countdown. And what happens in this window will either unlock the fullness or push it back into holding. Archangel Michael is positioned at the gate. His sword is drawn. His eyes are on you. Not just on your adversary, but on you. Because your posture, your words, your stillness will determine what he is authorized to do next. Heaven only intervenes where obedience is present. The angel only fights where faith is steady. And so, in these next hours, you must be alert. You must be prayerful. You must be still, but never passive. Do not engage with the distraction. Do not explain yourself to confusion. Do not chase validation from the very one sent to delay you. You do not need to defend yourself when heaven has already declared you chosen. The only sound you should release is worship. The only movement you should make is obedience. Because the blessing is still on the way. The scroll has not been returned. The oil is still dripping toward you. But if the enemy can agitate your emotions, if he can provoke your response, he will bait you into forfeiting what was promised. This is why the resistance is so intense right now. This is why you feel the heat. Because you are under watch. Not just by the enemy, but by the angels. And the heavens are waiting to see, will you trust or will you tremble? Will you believe what was spoken or react to what is seen? The enemy's plan is simple: disrupt the vessel to delay the blessing. But Michael's strategy is greater: secure the vessel to accelerate the blessing. And heaven is leaning in to see which direction you will choose. So, hear this final word for this section. The familiar face is moving, but heaven moves faster. Stay in position. The next 72 hours are holy. Walk in reverence. Speak with caution. Move with vision. Because your breakthrough is still en route, and the gates of hell will not prevail. Type "I am ready" in the comments if you are holding your position. Blessing code 3030 is unlocking swift, angelic response in your favor. Now is the moment where silence becomes your strategy. Now is the moment where stillness becomes your sword. For the Spirit of the Lord says, "Be still, heaven fights when you don't." In these final moments before breakthrough breaks open, you are being called not to speak, but to stand. Not to fight in the flesh, but to fortify in faith. This is not your battle to win. This is heaven's war to finish. But your obedience is what grants divine access. Archangel Michael has drawn a line around your name. He has encircled your assignment. He has guarded your blessing like a flame sealed in glass. But even fire can flicker when stirred by the wrong wind, and you must now guard your atmosphere with holy intensity. Do not retaliate. Do not explain. Do not chase answers from the ones who have already been influenced by spiritual interference. You are not their defender. You are not their fixer. You are God's vessel, and vessels don't fight in chaos. They anchor in presence. This moment demands a holy withdrawal, not from destiny, not from purpose, but from distraction, from emotional entanglement, from unnecessary conversations, from toxic familiarity. Your silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is warfare. It is the very strategy that Michael uses before striking. He does not announce the attack. He positions in silence. And then, at heaven's command, he strikes with precision. So now, withdraw. Withdraw your energy from those who drain you. Withdraw your words from those who twist them. Withdraw your time from those who do not honor it. Withdraw it not out of fear, but out of fierce alignment. Because the blessing released on August 30 has not been canceled. It is moving, even now, like fire through the air. But if your spirit is cluttered, you will miss the signal when it arrives. If your soul is loud, you will not hear the whisper of completion. This is why stillness is your safety. It sharpens your discernment. It recalibrates your mind. It secures your atmosphere. It allows heaven to move on your behalf without interruption. And as you still yourself, declare this over your life: no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Not the weapon of manipulation. Not the weapon of sabotage. Not the weapon of gossip. Not the weapon of hidden bitterness. Not the weapon of spiritual jealousy. They may form, yes, they may rise, but they will not prosper. Because you are shielded. You are surrounded. You are sealed. Even now, the Spirit of the Lord is cloaking you in a divine covering, invisible to man, but fully recognized in the realm of the unseen. Angels have been assigned. Scrolls have been updated. Michael stands armed not just because of the threat, but because of your importance. You are a vessel of movement, a catalyst, a divine threat to darkness. And this is why you cannot afford to be emotionally entangled right now. Resist the urge to defend yourself. Let God do it. Resist the pull to clear your name. Let heaven reveal it. Resist the temptation to confront the familiar face. Let the Spirit expose the root. This is your moment to move like royalty. Move like the anointed. Move like the protected, not in arrogance, but in sacred awareness of who you are and whose you are. Because when heaven fights for you, the outcome is already written. When Michael is released, the resistance is already losing ground. And when you stay still, God accelerates the victory. So rest, fast, pray. What? Protect your mind. Purify your intentions. Because what's coming is so big, so holy, so transformational, that the silence before the storm will be remembered as the moment everything turned. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you are stepping into divine stillness. Blessing code 1441 is covering you with heaven's shield. Now lift your head, child of God, for the moment of empowerment has arrived. No longer shall you sit beneath the weight of betrayal. No longer shall you second-guess the shift within you. No longer shall the opinions of the familiar drown out the roar of the divine inside of you. This is the season where the remnant rises, not as victims, not as castaways, but as warriors cloaked in glory. This conflict, this interference, this tension with the familiar was never about breaking you. It was sent to build you. It was sent to provoke what has been dormant. It was sent to awaken what was hidden beneath your survival. You are not who they think you are anymore. You are not bound by the role they assigned you. You are no longer defined by what you tolerated, endured, or forgave in silence. That version of you, the one they think still exists, has died in the fire. You were not just tested, you were transformed. You were not just attacked, you were anointed in the middle of it. The pressure was not punishment, it was promotion in disguise. You feel it now. Do you feel your strength returning? Do you feel your wings expanding? Because what you are going through is not about surviving, it is about soaring. This is your phoenix moment. This is your eagle hour. This is the wind shift that comes after the storm has rattled everything in your atmosphere. They thought the wind would take you out, but God used it to lift you up. The same faces that tried to block the blessing are now watching as you are elevated by the very thing they tried to suffocate. So rise. Rise in confidence. Rise in clarity. Rise in power. Because the spiritual warfare was the clue, not the curse. The enemy does not attack what is irrelevant. A devil does not fight what has no future. Your resistance is proof of your royal identity. Your calling irritated hell. Your promise provoked the familiar. But your destiny cannot be cancelled by closeness. It cannot be blocked by shared bloodlines or broken loyalty. God saw all of it. God knew all of it. And still, He chose you. This is the season where you must take back your narrative. Not in bitterness, not in revenge, but in revelation. You were never meant to fit their mold. You were never meant to shrink to their comfort. You were never designed to stay within the walls of their expectations. That's why you felt different, misunderstood, mislabeled. That's why they whispered, questioned, or withdrew when your spirit began to shift. They saw the glow before you could name it. They felt the elevation before you accepted it. They sensed the oil before you even realized how much it had multiplied. But now you know. Now you see. Now you awake. And no familiar face, no old voice, no subtle sabotage can keep you grounded. You are being drawn higher. You are being set apart. You are being called out from among them. This is your empowerment, and heaven is backing your every step. So stop waiting for their support. Stop begging for their understanding. Stop explaining what God is doing in your life to those who were never meant to witness it. Your growth will offend. Your light will expose. Your elevation will make the insecure tremble. Let them. Because you are no longer afraid of your wings. You are no longer afraid of your power. You are no longer afraid of your blessing. You were built for this. And the fire was proof, not that you were weak, but that you were chosen. Type "I am rising" in the comments if you feel this shift. Blessing code 9990 hath been activated for divine empowerment. This moment is not random. This warfare is not accidental. This blessing that was dispatched on August 30 was never meant to be ordinary. It was prophetic in origin and prophetic in destination. What you are walking through is not just spiritual resistance. It is a divine indication. Heaven did not simply release favor to make you feel better. Heaven released a repositioning, a shift in atmosphere, a recalibration of purpose. And what you are carrying now is the unlocking of the next level. This was never about them. Let the Spirit make it plain. This blessing was not about the familiar face, the conflict, or the betrayal. They were distractions. They were interruptions to see if you would look left when God is moving on the right. This entire journey, the attack, the silence, the shifting relationships, was orchestrated to expose what could not walk with you into the next assignment. They had to reveal themselves so your blessing wouldn't be contaminated when it arrived. The struggle was the filter. The resistance was a revealer. The friction was the prophecy being fulfilled. Heaven has already written your name into the next instruction. Heaven has already assigned you to the next gate. You are standing on the edge of divine reassignment, a new table, a higher realm, a heavier oil. And God has sealed this moment with your name etched into it. The papers are already signed. The gates are already cracking open. The only thing remaining is your final agreement, your full yes. You were known before the foundation of the world, and heaven has not forgotten you. You have not been overlooked, ignored, or bypassed. No, the exact opposite. You were targeted with precision because what is inside of you cannot be repeated, replaced, or revoked. You carry a blueprint in your spirit that no one else carries, and the time for its unveiling is near. This is why Archangel Michael was dispatched. Not because of the resistance, but because of the weight of your assignment. The spiritual realm responds in proportion to what is being released. You are not receiving a casual blessing. You are receiving a mantle, a chameleon, an instruction from the throne of God that carries ripple effects far beyond your current environment. That's why the enemy moved quickly through familiarity, to trick you into staying small, shrinking back, doubting yourself. But it's too late. The shift is irreversible. You are being handed something that cannot be blocked, only delayed if you misstep. That's why heaven keeps repeating the command: be still, stay clean, remain focused. Because this next blessing is not just for comfort, it is for impact. It is a seed that births strategy. It is a moment that carries momentum. Let this be the prophetic truth you write on the tablets of your heart. You have stepped into the season where heaven no longer whispers, it declares. And what heaven is declaring over you is this: your name is known. Your voice is needed. Your time has come. There is no more hiding. No more apologizing. No more explaining. You have been activated. The blessing is not on the way. It is already crossing into your timeline. Prepare. Rejoice. Were you? Because when God writes your name into the next level, no familiar spirit, no human face, no hidden enemy can stop the scroll. Type "My name is written" in the comments if this revelation has pierced your spirit. Blessing code 5151 is inscribing your destiny in heavenly ink. If this prophetic revelation awakens something deep in your soul, then let your action become an echo in the spirit. You are not just receiving a word, you are partnering with a mission to awaken others still bound by confusion, resistance, and fear. Every seed you sow, every super thanks, every membership, every act of generosity on PayPal link in the video description becomes a spiritual agreement that this word must travel to others. God is using this voice to send scrolls of clarity into dark places. Your giving turns this message into a lifeline. Like oil poured on a prophet's feet, your support sustains the movement of the word. Heaven is watching, and I declare this over every giver. The same God who has written your name into the next level is now assigning angels to guard your obedience. Your seed is not small, it is strategic. Your support is not charity, it is covenant. Move now. Don't delay. Let your giving release a prophetic echo in heaven. This is your moment of decision. This is the final threshold between hesitation and holy fulfillment. Heaven is not waiting on the enemy. Heaven is not waiting on the familiar face. Heaven is waiting on you. The scrolls have been written. The blessing was released on August 30. The angels have been dispatched. Michael has sounded the alarm. The opposition hath been unmasked. The shift has already started in your favor. And now, all of heaven leans forward to witness one thing: your yes. The next movement in your life does not begin with applause or agreement from others. It does not require validation, permission, or explanation. It begins with an internal ignition, a supernatural alignment that says, "God, I'm ready." Not because you feel ready in your flesh, but because your spirit knows it has been prepared in silence. Your pain prepared you. Your warfare fortified you. Your waiting refined you. And your yes is the key to unlock everything that's been circling your atmosphere. Do not minimize what's happening right now. This is not emotional hype. This is spiritual activation. Destiny is not something that magically appears. Destiny is something you choose, something you step into, something you command in the spirit by obedience, boldness, and unshakable faith. You don't stumble into greatness. You partner with heaven and walk into it with authority. Heaven is asking you to stop rehearsing the delay and start declaring the destiny. Stop replaying the betrayal and start activating the blessing. The enemy wants you focused on who walked away, but God is focused on where He's calling you to walk into. You cannot miss this final chance to break through because of old wounds. The threshold you are standing on right now is sacred. If you miss it, cycles will repeat. But if you move now, the cycle breaks with you. This is your call to arms, not with weapons, but with worship. Not with fists, but with faith. Not with noise, but with bold spiritual declarations. Say it aloud. Write it down. Declare it over your home. Speak it over your family. Heaven waits for your voice to match the scroll. Say, I align with what heaven has written. I agree with what God has already spoken. I receive what was released on August 30, and I walk into it without fear, without apology, and without delay. Every part of your life has been preparing for this shift. The spiritual agitation, the late-night warfare, the divine disruptions, they've all been labor pains. The birthing season is upon you. You cannot afford to sleep now. You cannot afford to be passive now. The familiar face may still be watching, but they do not hold the keys to your future. Heaven does, and the keys are in front of you. All it takes is movement. All it takes is activation. All it takes is a yes. So move boldly. Pray like someone who already knows their name has been called. Walk like someone who carries heaven's authority. Speak like someone who's already entered the next level. You are not waiting on the promise. The promise is waiting on your posture. Open your hands. Open your mouth. Open your spirit. Because this is your final chance to break through before the blessing arrives fully formed. It will not delay again. It will not be postponed again. It will not be blocked again. But your movement is the signal. Your faith is the trigger. Your surrender is the green light. So release your yes, loud and unwavering, and heaven-backed. Type ISAYYES in the comments to activate your breakthrough. Blessing code 8787 is unlocking your next level now. There are moments when everything feels quiet, but the quiet is not absence. It is activity and silence. You may have felt still. You may have felt stuck. You may have questioned why things felt delayed, paused, or interrupted. But what your natural mind interpreted as a delay was actually a divine negotiation taking place in the heavens on your behalf. While you wrestled in the night, heaven was working. While you questioned in silence, angels were moving. While your heart broke from earthly betrayal, your spirit was being honored in heavenly courts. This is the silent exchange. It is the divine transaction that takes place beyond your awareness. It is the unseen realm where justice is issued, scrolls are rewritten, and blessings are rerouted. You thought it was over. You thought what was stolen had been lost. You thought the interference had won. But the Spirit of God says, nothing was lost. Everything is being divinely transferred back. Yes, what the enemy attempted to intercept was caught midair by angelic hands. A familiar face tried to distort the timing, but heaven recalibrated the coordinates. The attack was real. The betrayal was painful. The confusion was deep. But in the spirit realm, your name remained secured. The promise remained sealed. The scroll remained intact. And now, the blessing is being rerouted, not back to the beginning, but forward with greater acceleration than before. Can you feel it now? The restlessness in your soul, the urgency in your spirit. That pressure you've been carrying is not anxiety, it's the pull of manifestation. Your body doesn't always understand what your spirit discerns. Your spirit recognized the shift before your mind could process it. That is why you couldn't sleep. That is why you felt heavy. That is why you sensed something was coming, even when nothing in the natural looked different. The spirit was whispering, hold on. The exchange is happening. In the silent exchange, your obedience bought back time. Your worship released angelic reinforcements. Your stillness invited divine acceleration. The very moment you chose not to retaliate, heaven moved faster. The very second you forgave, heaven opened new doors. The very hour you cried out, Michael struck down interference in the spirit. This is the part most never see. This is the part that proves the power of unseen obedience. While people judged your silence, heaven crowned your discipline. While others doubted your strength, angels documented your endurance. And now, as August 30 blessing returns with multiplied force, you will see what was once hidden become visible. You will feel the release. You will know, not just believe, that God has made an exchange on your behalf. This is holy ground now. You are standing in the aftermath of a spiritual rescue. And though you didn't see it with natural eyes, the evidence will soon appear in undeniable ways. And new opportunities will come. Confirming messages will arrive. Finances will unlock. Strategic relationships will appear. A shift will become visible. Because nothing that was meant for you will ever be lost. It will always return better. Let your spirit rest in this truth. Heaven has been fighting for you in ways you didn't even know you needed. And now, what was meant to destroy you has become the platform that elevates you. The blessing is still coming. The scroll is still alive. The transfer is complete. Type "I receive the exchange" in the comments if you feel this transaction in your spirit. Blessing code 2277 is restoring what was delayed and multiplying what was withheld. Justice is not delayed. It is precise. In the courts of heaven, time moves differently. While the world judges quickly, while man accuses prematurely, heaven watches, measures, and moves with perfect rhythm. And now, in the aftermath of the silent exchange, there comes a holy sound, the sound of justice being released. What was stolen is being returned. What was silenced is being restored. What was blocked is now being accelerated. Not in secret, not in darkness, but in a way that no familiar spirit can deny. The tables are turning, not by your hand, but by the hand of the Most High. What they whispered in corners is now being exposed under heaven's light. What they attempted in secrecy is now becoming their public unraveling. But this is not about your vengeance. This is about God's righteousness. This is about heaven making a declaration over your life. Enough has been enough. The resistance they raised will now be the very reason your name is announced in rooms they never expected. The honor they tried to withhold is now being multiplied. The opportunity they attempted to sabotage is now being stamped and sealed with your divine fingerprint. They underestimated your resilience. They miscalculated your covering. They did not see the sword of Michael hovering behind your stillness. And because they tried to delay what God declared, heaven has now activated divine reversal. The blessing that should have taken years is coming in weeks. The doors they closed are now becoming the very gates God is using to usher you into new territory. What they meant for evil, truly, with intentional hearts, has now triggered a prophetic acceleration they cannot stop, unsee, or undo. This is the hour of holy reversal. The same people who tried to silence your voice will now hear it echo louder than they ever imagined. The same familiar face that once sat at your table and secretly envied your favor will now have to watch from a distance as God prepares the feast in your presence. They will witness it. That virito of God's glory. Because justice is not about punishment. It's about setting things back into their divine order. Heaven's courtroom has ruled in your favor. The gavel has fallen. The decision has been made. The documents have been signed in spiritual ink. And you are being vindicated in ways that will silence every tongue that rose in judgment. The lies are crumbling. The masks are falling. The alignments that served to block you are being scattered like dry leaves in the wind. There is no force, no jealousy, no familiar spirit, no ancient curse that can outlast divine reversal once it's in motion. And it is in motion now. Even as you hear these words, even as your spirit trembles with confirmation, something is shifting behind the veil. Angels are moving. Routes are opening. Delays are being swallowed up by divine speed. The blessing is still yours. The timing is being corrected. And God is making sure that the reward is undeniable. Let the enemy be put to shame. Let every watcher see the fruit. Let every doubter choke on the evidence of your elevation. You are not stepping into victory. You are stepping into justice. And justice comes with clarity, closure, and compensation. This is your divine reversal. And it's happening faster than you think. Type divine justice is mine in the comments if your spirit feels this decree. Blessing code 1199 is now releasing reversal and repayment over every area of your life. And now, we come to the close, not just of a message, but of a spiritual turning point. Mark it well, beloved. Heaven has recorded this moment. August 30 was no ordinary date. It was a divine appointment etched into the heavens. On that day, a blessing was released in your direction, a breakthrough uniquely authored for your name, your season, your next level. But with that blessing came disruption, came delay, came resistance, not from strangers, but from the familiar, from those near you, from someone trusted, someone permitted too close to the altar of your destiny. But let it be declared now, they did not succeed. Heaven saw it. Archangel Michael moved in silence. The warning came, not to scare you, but to awaken you, to prepare you, to open your eyes to the battlefield cloaked in everyday life. The interference was real, yes. The pain, the betrayal, the confusion, all real. But your blessing, even more real. And like man, heaven does not change its mind. What was written over you has not been erased. What was declared has not been voided. What was delayed has now been divinely rerouted, reestablished, and reinforced. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. No familiar spirit can access what God has preserved. No hidden word spoken against you can survive in this new altitude. And no weapon, no whisper, no watching eye can stop what God has already moved into motion. So take this final word and let it settle in your bones. The breakthrough is yours. Not tomorrow. Not years from now. Now, you have one final chance. Not because heaven is hesitant, but because obedience is the door. And you, child of God, are ready to walk through it. Lift your head. Steady your spirit. The warfare did not break you, it built you. The silence did not mean abandonment, it meant strategy. The betrayal was not the end. It was the announcement that you had outgrown the room. You are entering a new spiritual year, and everything you lost will be restored. Everything that was blocked is being opened. Everything you cried about is becoming a testimony. Everything they tried to stop will now announce your arrival. The blessing has broken through. Now walk in it. Boldly. Fully. Apologetically. The door has opened. The favor has fallen. The oil is flowing. A shift is finished. And you, yes, you, are anointed to rise from this. Type "I walk in the blessing" in the comments if you feel the final release. Blessing code 3033 is sealing your breakthrough. The gates are open. Go forth. If this message confirmed what your soul has carried, don't just listen, respond. When you sow into this kind of prophetic word, you're not giving to a platform. You're anchoring the word in others' lives. Every super thanks, every membership, every PayPal offering link in the video description sends this message further, reaching those who are one word away from breakthrough. You're not funding a video. You're fueling a mission. This is holy ground. You've just received a download from the throne, and your response becomes your agreement. Proverbs 11:25 says, "Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." When you pour into this ministry, God pours back into you, multiplied, pressed down, and running over. I feel this in the spirit. Your seed will shake stagnation. Your obedience will open overflow. Move now, not as a suggestion, but as an act of faith. Sow into the shift. Fuel the fire. Let your giving be your yes.